Hello, welcome to my live stream. I'm waiting for it to see if I can see it on YouTube. Let's see. I think there's always like a 10-15 second delay. Okay, I can see something. Okay, I don't see anyone in chat yet, so no one can tell me if you can hear me. Okay, so while I'm waiting, today's topic that I want to talk about is actually the Past Lives Workbook that belongs to the art history tarot for past lives. And I finished this workbook and I just want to give a quick review of my experience with this book and the story that I found in the process. Okay. So when I got this tarot deck, I decided to get the complete set, which is the deck, the workbook, and also a guidebook, which I don't have with me right now. But yeah, I got the whole set, and I was really looking forward to doing all of these exercises that are in the book. Wait, looks like this. Hey, Rochelle. Can you hear me? Can you tell me if the sound is okay? Because on my YouTube channel, it looks very, very bad. The picture. Sound is good. But the picture is not great. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is what it is right now. I mean, YouTube's been down lately, so we'll see. Hi, Miriam. So, okay. First of all, yeah, let's talk about this book. This was created by, let me check, Melanie Eva Hansen, and this is self-published under Red Orchid Publishing. And in the description box below, I have the link to where you can buy this. No, I'm not sponsored. I bought this myself. If you're interested in the deck, the book, the whole set, the workbook and the guidebook are actually also available on Amazon. And the deck is only available on the website for Red Orchid Publishing. God, difficult name. Okay, so the way that this book is structured is you have, first of all, after an introduction, you go into a pre-assessment where you answer a few questions. And this for me was a bit tricky because a lot of it dealt with God. And since I'm not in any church, I wasn't brought up in a church, and I have a kind of difficult relationship with God, or with the idea of God that was promoted by the church, not as like source energy, but as this old wise man. I found these questions a bit uncomfortable to answer sometimes, but yeah, that was just my thing. And then after the pre-assessment, you go right into the different days that you work on. And the way that this is structured, you have 7 different chapters And for each chapter, you have 3 days or 3 spreads for one overall topic. So the topics are spiritual essence, the narrative, spiritual blockages, relationships, phobias and fears, dreams, and life goals. And the dreams chapter is something that I'm going to exclude from here because that depends on what kind of dream you choose that you want to read on. And so for me, 6 of these chapters were really helpful when it came to going into the past life readings. Oh, you already have it in your cart yourself? That's good. Hi, the Witch of Whitetail Hollow. Hey. Okay, so when you get to the days, okay, you always have a spread for each of the days. Each spread looks a bit different, and then you get some questions. Now you see my book is still pretty blank. What I did was I got a separate notebook because I had quite a bit of notes to write on each of the spreads. So I never would have been able to fit all of these in the book. And so an extra notebook for me was really helpful. That way I could really just explore everything that I was thinking about, and I didn't have to worry about running out of space. Also, because I don't want to use this book just once, I want to do it more than once. I mean, this book has, like, once you're done with the 21 days, it starts all over and you have the same spreads a second time. But yeah, I don't want to write in the book because when I do it again, I don't want to read anything that I have previously done. So that's why I got an extra notebook. Okay, and then what you also have, each of the chapters always has a reference guide, and that is different for each of the chapters. Kind of looks like this, and what you have is you have all the cards with like their typical names, and then you get keywords for that belong to each of the chapters, and they are different in each chapter. And what I decided to do was I would only work with these specific keywords, and I would work with the keywords right there that are on the cards. And I didn't use the guidebook at all. So in that sense, I didn't want to get too many things confused. I also didn't really look into the traditional RWS meanings. I specifically decided to work with the keywords, and that's how I got really good, consistent readings and stories that actually made sense. And I didn't just use the art history deck. I also used the stretch tarot. That is this one. And the way that I used them was the art history deck would be my, well, outside story, everything that everyone else around this person could see. And the stretch tarot I would use for the internal things, everything that this person was thinking, feeling, not telling others, motivations, all of that. And I would do each spread with both decks right next to each other. I do have some pictures of that on my Instagram that are already from like February and March when I first started. And so there you can see how I did that. Okay, what is chat saying? Yeah, a notebook definitely helps because once you start connecting the dots and the story starts to unfold and you kind of link different things together, because at first, when I did the first couple of readings, it was like a little bit of information here, a little bit there, and a little bit over there. And the more and more I did of these readings, I started to connect the dots. And that's why it was really helpful for me to just really write everything down and then go back uh, through my notes and see, oh, this is connected to this and this to that. So that's why it helped me to really write everything down. So, and the also the workbook, the way that I used it, and I think that's the way that it was intended, is that all of these readings are for one life. So this is not 21 different lives. This is one with 21 different viewpoints. Although the dream chapter, those 3 readings, I would kind of exclude because, yeah, that's based on a dream that you had in this life that you choose, and whether that's connected to something from a past life or not, yeah, that you have to see what comes out. So before you go to the first spread, you shuffle the deck and you find out who you are. And so I got 2 cards at first. I got the soldier and slavery. And then I did it again just to see what would come up. And the second time I got poison and the soldier again. So this is the person that I was reading about, the soldier. And I'm going to continue referring to him as the soldier. And then I went straight into the first spread. And yeah, so the story that I found was as follows. This soldier, this man, based on everything that I pieced together, he lived in the what is known as the Ottoman Empire, which is kind of like Turkey, Greece, like the Mediterranean area. And it was around the time of the first half of the 19th century. So 1800 something, like the number 1830 just keeps popping in my head. So maybe that was the time when he was already as old as he looks in this picture, like maybe in his 20s. And this man lived in a family based on everything that we know about the Ottoman Empire with society, politics, religion. So that kind of plays a role in this person's life as well. And so the father played a very important role in that man's life. He was the one deciding what the family would do. He would also decide what the son would do. And I got the feeling that the father was maybe some kind of a merchant or something, but he had good money in the family. And I don't know if the soldier had any siblings or not. That didn't really come up in the readings. And what was really important was that the son brings honor to the family. So later in another reading, I would find out that the soldier was either gay or bisexual. And so if the father suspected anything, that's where this whole honor thing might have come into play, because it was really important, you know, what would the neighbors say, having a good social status in the society. And so the father sent his son to the army. That's how he became the soldier. And this man, the soldier, was actually not really interested in war, like based on the kind of characteristics that I got from the readings is that he was actually a quite gentle person who didn't really care for killing people. He was actually more interested in helping people, but it was duty before, personal interests. So he had to do what he was told. So living the life that his father had planned for him. And it even went so far as to have a wife that was given to him through an arranged marriage that his father had arranged with the father of the bride, just to make sure that everything would be, in order. And yeah. But, and what I got from the readings later on is that the relationship between the husband and wife was not a bad one. He did somehow love her. I don't know if it was like really romantic love or if it was more like a friendship kind of love. And when he was in the army, he met his, well, in the reading, it was called his twin flame, or maybe a soulmate or something. I don't really like the whole twin flame concept. And he met someone, and it was another soldier. I don't exactly know what kind of rank these two men had, if they were like equal ranks or if there was a difference. But this relationship was the romantic love interest. And that other soldier kind of awakened the desire to have a more spiritual life in the soldier, which is interesting because for other lives that I have read about, like for me doing past life readings, something that kept coming up was going from a kind of mundane life into the spiritual life, or at least trying to. There was always difficulty with the family. The family wouldn't approve, and they would want whoever I was to follow like in the family business or do something that was deemed acceptable to society or by society. And so, yeah, to have a love interest that would once again stir up things regarding spirituality was really interesting to find. And as I kept looking more into this love triangle, the example that I kind of had in my head, because like a lot of times I get references to movies or TV shows. And for anyone who has seen the TV show Versailles about Louis XIV, his brother Philippe, he had a wife, but he also had a lover. And at some point, those three actually became like best friends. He had a loving kind of relationship with his wife, but the romantic relationship was with his lover. And so that was the example that kind of popped in my head. And I think that's maybe how they made it work as well. I think the wife knew about it, and given the time and place where everything happened, I think it was safe to say that the soldier was keeping the wife safe by not divorcing her or anything, going against the family, because that would have just brought shame to her and her family and also to his. And so I think they found some kind of arrangement. And in a later reading, what would come up was the idea of leaving, all three of them. And the destination that came up was Mexico. So somewhere in America. And yeah, whether they really made it there, I don't know, because all the readings that I did basically focused around that time when all of that kind of unfolded. And I got the sense that the twin flame lover might not have made it all the way. Either he died in the war, or he, I don't know if he left. I mean, the twin flame connection is a bit tricky. So, yeah, but there was a plan to get away and to live a happier life somewhere else, away from everyone's expectations. And yeah, so that the soldier could be himself, and his two partners could also have like an easier way of making this whole triangle thing work. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I got from all of those readings. And the way that this related to my life now was, especially like the father, the emperor card came up a lot in these readings. So it really was a difficult relationship between the soldier and his father. And the father really decided everything for the son. So the son could not live his own life, he could not follow his own path. And in my life now, my father is not in the picture, and I uh, don't follow the expectations of my family. I do whatever I feel called to do. And to me, that is very liberating because I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And so I think this life is the complete opposite of everything that the soldier experienced. And if there really is such a thing as soul contracts, and I like throughout the readings, I was kind of getting the impression that the father back then could have been the same father of now. And so maybe if these soul contracts really exist, um, I asked him to stay away this time so that I could find my own way, find my own path, and really experience everything that I was not able to experience in that life. And yeah, that put a lot of things in perspective. It helped me to get over some feelings of sadness, because it's not a nice thing for a child to think, oh, why is my father not interested in me or anything? So yeah, this was definitely very, very interesting. And also looking at the soldier and how he might have reacted in certain situations, or the choices he would have made, comparing that to my life and questioning how I would have reacted in those situations. Like, would I pass judgment? Would I agree with him? That is also something very interesting. And that's what I like about these past life readings, that like I use that regardless of whether past lives are a thing or not, but going into like this person's behavior or motivation, and reflecting that back to me and asking myself, okay, what would I have done in a situation? And seeing where my own limits are, my boundaries, how far would I be willing to go in certain situations? Just for that, I think these readings are very helpful, because you can actually discover parts about yourself that you might not even have been aware of. And so that is definitely worth looking into. And what I also found very interesting was the very last chapter that ties everything together and brings it back to the here and now, which is about life goals. And something that was really interesting is in the first reading that I ever did with the art history deck, when I got it, I did the reading that was in the guidebook. And right away, I got something about leaving Europe and going to America. And the film that popped in my head back then was, I think it's called Far and Away. So leaving, and I think it was like in the 1600 something time frame. So leaving because of famine and trying to get to the land of milk and honey, America, to get a better life. But unfortunately, there was also a love situation where I was, and I think in that life I was also a man, and I was betrayed by a woman. So I died. And now in the life of the soldier, also having this idea of going from Europe to America to escape the religion, the society, the pressure of the family. That is really interesting. And in my life right now, for some reason that I could never explain, I have always been drawn to America. It's like, in some instances, like a siren song that just keeps calling me back. And I did the first of these life goal spreads. And the first card that came up, let me see, what was it? So the first question is, what is my goal? And the card that came up, wait, migration. I was laughing really loud when I saw that. So once again, I think this whole America thing and we're not done. Maybe because it has never really worked the way that I wanted it to work. And in the process of talking about karmic debt, maybe I need to take care of my karmic debt, and this is somehow related to making a life somewhere else. And what was interesting, when I used the stretch tarot as clarifiers, I got the Four of Swords. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but these swords, they all have a description underneath. And the interesting is they are all German swords. So the first one, it says Deutsches Schwert, 13th century. Then the next one is German Sparta. And the last one is German Langsachs or something. And that to me was, I mean, these two cards together pretty much was like, okay, I am a German. I live in Germany. We have these German swords in a card from a deck that was created in England, I believe. And this whole thing with like going to America has been something in my life. I mean, how crazy is that? So I think this is talking about like leaving Germany and giving Germany a rest, like letting Germany rest and then moving on. So yeah, that was a goosebump moment when I had that, when I saw that. And the other cards, let's see, what else did I get? So another question was, how does this goal help me? And what I got was the Fool card, and that one says you. So me, the Fool, to have a totally new life experience. And this is something that I'm actually going through right now in my life. I am like on the verge of changing something, like closing one chapter, opening a new one. And I feel that my time in my current job is coming to an end. And I have felt that way for quite a while. And since we will be under new management very soon, and I do not really share all the visions of the new management. So I don't know if I'm still going to be happy in that place. And so I think it's time for me to move on. And something that has always been like in the back of my mind is wanting to move into a more spiritual life and actually doing that. And so the last card that I got in that reading was the High Priestess, and that was the how will I evolve when I achieve this goal? And interesting was also when I did the Samhain spread, the very last card, like the outcome or what should I do, was also the High Priestess card. So, and then she's gone. Yeah, so I think I'm on the right path with everything that I'm doing, and things are happening along the way that I, like 1 or 2 years ago, never could have imagined to happen. And I don't know, it's really interesting to see how all of this ties together and how I can bring multiple lifetimes into today and find the connection and look at, okay, what worked, what didn't work, how can I make it better in order to clear that karmic debt, to move on and to finally get out of that circle and yeah, finally live that karma and bring it to an end so I can go on to the next one. Do not forget even astrology. Yeah, I think, yeah, in my horoscope, it also talks about going away. And yeah, it's just like this last reading was amazing. And I can really recommend this book to anyone who is interested. Like I said, whether you believe in past lives or not, if only to discover yourself and to go on a journey of self-reflection, getting to know yourself, getting to know your shadows. This is a wonderful journey that you can take. And I really enjoyed this, the things that I uncovered. For me, in this life about the soldier, it was mostly about my father and the connection that I have or don't have with him and what that means for my life. Um, Instead of just asking the wrong questions and making it about like, oh, why doesn't he love me? Actually going into this, okay, how can I draw something positive out of this? Like, what does this mean? How can I, like, how would my life have been if he had been here versus what is my life right now? And to compare those things. That through this journey has helped me immensely. And then another thing was, yeah, the whole love situation in multiple lives. How would I react in certain situations? That was one thing. And then also um, the whole spirituality aspect seems to come back. I mean, I linked another video below where I demonstrated how I do readings with more than one deck, connecting multiple lives together. And the whole spirituality thing seems to come up again and again because I have not yet managed to do it. And so everything right now is just telling me go for it and not be afraid anymore. Yeah, memories. I also don't have any memories of like past lives or anything. I never saw anything while I was doing these readings. I don't have any idea of what uh, this person might be called, like any name or something. I don't know how old he was. Like, I could probably do other readings to find that out, but I think in this instance, it was more about comparing these two lives so that I know what to do in this life, what mistakes not to repeat, and yeah, to really to grow as a person, like into my own, like be the person I'm meant to be. Yeah, I've also never done a past life regression. I know there are some on YouTube that you can do, and at some point I want to try that. I just always have this thing, like if I do a guided meditation, I usually fall asleep. I have never like really done one from beginning to end, being aware of it. I always fall asleep, and then when they count back to bring you out of it, then I wake up, and that's usually like the best sleep ever. But yeah, I don't dream when I do that, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to give it a try. Yeah, but that would be interesting. I also like when they did that in yoga class, I also would fall asleep. Like when they would say, "Oh, now imagine you're sitting on the green grass and you're sitting by a lake and all of that," and pretty soon I was gone. So yeah. So I'll check that out. And I know that the guy who did the this is the French version of the Past Lives Oracle of She Who Shall Not Be Named. This is one that I actually didn't really use for these readings. And the other one who worked on this is called Brian L. Weiss. And he is quite known for his past life regressions. He has written a few books and he did courses. He might still do them. And he also has a YouTube channel where he has some of the videos that talk about past life regressions, and there might even be some examples of those sessions that you can do. But it hasn't been updated in years, but you can still find the videos on YouTube. And yeah, anyway, this deck I didn't really use because I found it very limiting because there are only 44 cards, not really many places to look into, not really any specific time frames that this could give you, or occupations or what have you. So in that sense, I only used it in the very beginning to try it, and that's when I got the Egypt card, which kind of is in the neighborhood of the Ottoman Empire. So that kind of worked out. And in the dream spread, I just tried it again. And the card that came out actually matched the dream, but that was really it. I mean, I also have another deck. This is the John Richardson's Past Lives Revealed, but I haven't really worked with it yet. And I don't know if that would go with like the workbook or something. I think that's like its own thing that I could figure out how to use. Yeah, but for me, using these two decks together, the Stretch Tarot and the Art History Tarot, that's what made these readings extremely insightful. And also what I did with these cards, like they also have keywords, and I decided that the keywords on the cards would have first priority, and after that I would look at the image and at the RWS meaning. But yeah, in all of those readings, I would mainly go with the keywords. That was what I decided before I started. Other people might find very interesting things by looking at the images, um, or through the guidebook. So that's I guess, trial and error for everyone. But yeah, this is what I did. And yeah, I have to say I had a really wonderful experience and I can't wait to do it again. I want to do this with another life and see what kind of topic I uncover, what else I can look into, because at the end of the day, all like for me, this is shadow work. This is getting to know myself in aspects that I am either not aware of or that I, you know, just repressed or that I don't really want to talk about because they might be painful. But it's important to sometimes address those issues to move on. I want to get this tarot and oracle that are supposed to be based on what happens right after death before your next life, I believe. The artwork is pretty amazing. What deck is that? Cosmovisions Tarot. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. Um, yeah. So if I had done this with only one deck, I think it could have been frustrating at times. Uh, and doing it with two, having like the outside and the inside perspective, yeah, that really helped me to tie things together. And yeah, as a Christmas gift. Yeah. Well, yeah, Christmas is not that far away. So make a list and send it to Santa. Okay. Um, does anyone have any questions based on my experience with the book, the workbook, the notes that I took? Are you going to start offering readings to anyone else? Um, Eventually, I want to do that. First, I want to do this at least, I think, once or twice more to really experience it more myself and to see what else comes up and how I can work through that. And I think um, it's always good to know what you're talking about because you have done it yourself. And then I think doing all of these readings that are in here for someone else, that will be quite a lot. So I think I would really have to break it down to like the core essentials to have maybe like one reading about family, one about relationships, one about like the social atmosphere of like the whole environment, and then see where that takes me. But eventually, if people wanted to get a reading from me, sure, I would find a way to make that happen. And I also have to say, like, doing these readings, I don't know if that's just for me because I was like going into my own memories, like working through my own childhood, adolescence, all of that. I could only do like a maximum of 3 readings a day out of this workbook because they were emotionally draining. Like the stuff that would come up, it it really took a lot of energy out of me. So yeah, I think it would be interesting to see if that also happens reading for other people or if that's just because it was my personal story and I was much more involved and like going through all of these emotions again. Um, I think that um, that would be interesting to see. Hey, Steve. Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna do this like once or twice more to get more information and to see what other aspects of my life I could be reading on. Maybe the next time will be about my mother, who knows, and the kind of relationship that I have with her, or some other family members, or work, or I don't know. That would definitely be something to find out. Yeah. Rochelle, have you done past life readings for others so far? Oh, yeah. You're so exhilarated. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can swap and do one for each other and then see what happens. That would be interesting. Also to see what comes up, especially like not having the person there, having the person halfway around the world, and see how that works. Because this was a bit different than normal tarot readings. So yeah. But anyway, this deck also, like for me, this wanted to talk. Like the cards just kept jumping out. I didn't have to shuffle very long. Like sometimes I would only like start twice and then already cards would jump out. Like this deck wanted to talk, and that was really cool. Yeah, yeah, Rochelle, we should talk about trying swapping some readings. That would be interesting. I would love to see what we can come up with. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much everything I have to say about my experience with this workbook. And yeah, anyone, like, I can really recommend it if you want to get it. Um, the workbook and the guidebook are separately also available on Amazon in different countries. So if the whole like shipping costs and like postal fees and custom fees and everything, that's an issue. You can get those books separately, and you could use a regular tarot deck, I guess, if you follow the keywords in the workbook. I think you can also make that work if yeah, if the shipping costs are too high, because getting it from America to Germany for me, like the entire thing with shipping costs, customs, and postal fees made it twice as expensive as it actually was. So that is something to keep in mind. But I guess for everyone in America, it shouldn't be that bad. Yeah. And it was, I thought just custom fees would be enough, but then they held it at the post office and I had to pay extra money just so that they would hand it out to me. So they know how to make money. Yeah, I think I paid something close to 70. I think 66, 67 or something with everything. So, yeah. Well, okay. That was it for this video. Thank you to everyone who was here. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.